Okay, recording this video Sunday, 8th of April 2012, just coming up to 4:29 p.m. Chicago time. I hope you've had a good Easter weekend. We're back in Sydney, feet under the desk. Spent the last few days, quite a few days traveling, but finally kind of back home, so that's kind of good. And I hope no one was caught by surprise by the sell-off over the last several days. I think that's been pretty well telegraphed by Emini-Watch over the last week and a half or so. And just to recap, just looking at three kind of high time frame charts: the 45-minute chart, 135-minute chart, and the daily chart. You know, there's a factor of 3 between these different charts, so it's almost like looking at a 500, 1500, and 4500 tip bar chart that I use for day trading. And you can see on the daily chart we had our exhaustion buying, first bearish divergence, and that's when the market kind of topped out. We had rainbow patterns, amateur bars up here. And it's the first time we've seen exhaustion buying to kind of end a move after we've had these kind of exhaustion selling signal that ended this down move. And what I've been looking for is this support level. So, you know, somewhere between here and this breakout level will find support, and it'll be when we get a cyclical cross on the daily chart. But it's not in by any means, although, you know, just watch out for Friday's activity. I'm just going to talk about that briefly. Go down a time frame to the 135-minute chart, and you can see here pullback to end of trend. We'd had our exhaustion buying, bearish divergence on the shoulder here, and then topping out move, exhaustion buying, bearish divergence again, blue professional bars into the high, and we've kind of come off here. The difference between this pullback to end of trend sequence and this one here is these two prior ones, there was an exhaustion buying on the left hand shoulder, so we were just looking at price in terms of those moves. Now in this move we had, you know, price and volume momentum kind of coming together to figure that top. We're at this really important kind of support level, and this is just looking at the daily charts. When we looked at the overnight numbers, you know, we closed down at the 75s, so this kind of definitely kind of broke through this support. And then on the 45-minute chart you can see pullback to dirty end of trend, all these exhaustion patterns, flush patterns, Rambo right at the top here in the 14 teens, and we've broken down. Now the point I want to make on this chart is we're in a downtrend on the 45-minute chart, so where this ends, where we get a cyclical support on the daily chart, will be an end of trend sequence on the 45-minute chart. So we've broken below support, we've got to make pullback to end of trend on the 45-minute chart before even thinking that the bottom of this move is in. And we'll need to see exhaustion selling on the downside here. You know, on the 45-minute chart, I mean, we've had quite a big sell-off over that last few days of last week, particularly Friday's activity. It took us down to kind of 72 to 75 kind of closing areas, but we've not had exhaustion selling on the downside, so that's what I'm going to be looking for. However, you know, this Friday's activity was made where we kind of went down into the 70s on extremely light volume. So before I get to that, just a better X trend chart on the daily chart here. We've actually broken into a downtrend here, but the data on TradeStation's a little messed up. This is at ES, so this is day and night session here. This was Friday's activity that took us down to the lows of 72. The close was 75, and TradeStation at this moment on this bar is showing the close at 1390, which was the close on the previous day. So just be aware of that. The TradeStation data is a little bit funky, and we've closed below that support level at 81, and so this is now in a downtrend here. We'll test back up at some point, but better X trend finally is kind of flicked over on this daily chart. In terms of long-term charts, let me just show you the 40,500 tip bar chart. The 40,500 tip bar chart's quite like that 45-minute chart, where you can see this activity where exhaustion buying, flush, pullback, dirty end of trend was marked here. We tested again. This is where we had this huge blow-off day, and then we've got all of these flush patterns, Rambo patterns, blue professional bars right at the highs, bang, and now we've broken into this downtrend, and this is this activity on Friday. It was very low volume. You know, 72 was the low, 75 was kind of the close. There was less than 200,000 contracts traded, and it was a perfect opportunity for, you know, really low volume activity for the professionals to really move this around. So we'll wait and see what happens on the open, whether we'll get a bounce straight away, because it was kind of almost manufactured down here. The the large volume professionals will need a better entry point than just joining in here down in the low 70s. They'll need somewhere between here and 95 to kind of join in. So I'm expecting some kind of bounce back, and that's when we'll kind of get a proper move down. But that was a little bit kind of manufactured in terms of that move down. But look at this, in terms of exhaustion, buying, flush signal and so on, we've had nothing like that on the downside here. Yes, this was selling down, but it was just getting this move going. We've seen nothing to end this move, so I'm expecting this move to continue down for the next while at least. So the bottom is not in by any means. Going down to the 13,500 tip bar chart, the last exhaustion selling signal we had was on this move here, which was just getting this move going. So we've not seen it yet, even though we've got blue professional bars kind of coming in here. There's nothing been like that type of reading at the bottom of this move. Then 4,500 tip bar chart again, you can just see that swan dive. All of that activity happened literally in 10 minutes on the Friday, and again, nothing to say that it's bottomed out. The last, the 4,500 tip bar chart has actually been quite helpful, kind of getting us going. We kind of had exhaustion selling, backed up a little bit, and kind of the move kept going. We had a short covering rally. That's what that was, kind of getting that going. Kind of topped out, didn't go very far. Rambo patterns, bearish divergence, kept going. Flush pattern here into the end of Thursday's activity, and that's kind of Friday's activity. So again, no exhaustion selling on the downside. So a little bit manufactured. Expect some kind of a bounce, continuation maybe, and a bounce to a better point where the professionals can get a better entry with more kind of liquidity in order to put on more positions. And just on another couple of charts, Euro, so Euro now has kind of turned the corner, and for me, I was talking about the weekly chart. We had a pullback and a downtrend sequence on the weekly chart to go, and I know we've got these flush patterns here, but these were flush patterns on these shoulders. They weren't exhaustion selling signals. Those flash patterns were just kind of playing off this exhaustion selling down here. So we've got pullback to end of trend to make on the weekly chart on the Euro. So that's going to be the story kind of going down on the Euro. In terms of gold, I said, the last video, I said that just watch out for this move in gold because it was being led by the amateurs. We had those amateur up bars into a cyclical resistance, and it's kind of turned and gone the other way. Plus, the other point here is when we get the momentum signals kind of lining up in a line here, we get exhaustion patterns, first bullish divergence, then some bullish divergence like here. When you get them lining up like that, always expecting some kind of sell-off pattern, like a flush pattern that'll be midway, between the exhaustion signal and these kind of divergence signals. That when they line up like that, just look for something that's a little bit more kind of extreme in terms of selling. So we've got to see that on gold yet. And then just to point out on the bonds, so all the bonds now, I know I've been kind of bullish in terms of rates, and I was saying the long-term story during 2012 could be that rates are going up, but in the meantime, during this sell-off, rates are going down. We've got a run to safety, and we've got pullback in an uptrend gone off on the bond chart. So that's what's supporting the bond prices at the moment. But look out, because we've had the exhaustion buying on the left-hand shoulder, the first bullish bearish divergence kind of come in here. So we've got to make this sequence pullback to end of trend. But next time we come back into these highs, let's see, if we have professional profit taking, if it's extremely weak, if we have flush signals and so on. This is an important point, particularly it's on a weekly chart of the bonds. Anyway, so there we go, just a quick video. Hope you had a good weekend, and looking forward to getting back into my trading.